What's going on, guys? It's Brian, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the 3 things that I learned in January 2019 so that you can learn from my mistakes as well as learn from the things that I have done so far. You ready? Let's go. Alright, welcome back. So I'm recording in my basement right now and lighting isn't the best, and this is usually where my computer is, but I moved it upstairs because it's the winter time and I live in Canada and it's typically cold, and it's usually really cold down here. Today is kind of a warmer day. Today is January 31st, by the way. This video will be uploaded on February the 3rd. But again, the whole point of this video is so that I can tell you guys what I learned in the month of January, and today's the last day of January, and I thought basically we can start right away with that. So the very first thing is a lot can happen in 1 week. Okay, so when you do the work, you create your opportunities and then you create your own luck. Okay, so what I mean by that is a couple things happened in January that I didn't expect. Okay, so I had an income goal for the month of January, and I hit that income goal. I'm not going to tell you what it is exactly, but I hit that income goal, and I didn't really expect to hit it, to be honest. It's not that I'm not, reaching out to people or that I'm not trying to find clients and stuff like that. But in this first month of 2019, I really wanted to just build up foundations and then create strategies and then kind of have a good base to build everything up from. Okay, so it's not like I'm a complete beginner entrepreneur, but in terms of taking everything seriously and doing this full time, yes, it's one of the things I feel that I need to do for myself, right, and my business, obviously. So what happened was on January the 11th, I signed a client for 3 months, upfront payment, including taxes, including ad spend, etc. And that blew me away. Okay, so that didn't happen. I didn't plan for that to happen, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and then the next day on January the 12th, which is a Saturday, I had my first coaching student, and he paid me up front for 2 hours of my time. Okay, so both of these things I didn't really plan on happening, and definitely not plan on happening so early in the month, right? Like, I hit my income goal before the month was even 2 weeks in, right? Before the month was even halfway done. So I was really, really thankful for that. So how I got the client was, she's a fitness client, and she's a personal trainer, and she discovered me through a mutual friend that my girlfriend knew. So I know that person as well, and she basically referred me to my client. And as soon as she got my number on I would say January the 4th, which is also a Friday, as soon as she got my number, she called me immediately. So she was definitely like seeking my help, really, really proactive and stuff like that. So she called me, and then we had a nice 20-30 minute call, phone chat on the phone, and then we set a meeting for Tuesday, so after the weekend. And then after that, after the meeting was great, she said that she wanted to do it. And then in the next couple of days, I created a contract and I created an invoice, sent it to her. She had it signed, sent it back to me, paid in full by Friday. Okay, so within 7 times 24 hours, within 7 full days, she went from not knowing who the heck I was to paying me for 3 months of my service. Like, that's amazing. Especially, again, I didn't plan for that happening. Then the next day, there's this guy that I kind of talk to occasionally on Instagram. So, by the way, it's very important to build your network everywhere on social media, regardless of Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, offline, online, etc. But there's a guy that I've always talked to occasionally, and he just always asks me questions and stuff, and he responded to my story about how I signed my client, and then we just kind of talked a little more from there. And then I approached him. I saw this as an opportunity, obviously. So then I DM'd him back, and I told him, I can definitely help you. I can give you more direction and where you want to go with your business. I can kind of give you some clarity. And that was the whole purpose, right? And then he ended up paying me for 2 hours of my time, which is awesome. First time that I've ever coached or talked about, this kind of stuff with anybody, taught, right? Taught anybody relating to stuff that I do. And I'm really passionate about what I do, obviously. So yeah, within 2 weeks in, before 2 weeks was over for January, I had 2 paying customers. right? And I hit my income goal for January when I didn't really plan on it happening. And the whole reason why it happened was because I was working so hard behind the scenes, obviously, and that's what happens when you create your own luck. Okay, that's what happens when you work hard to create opportunities for yourself, and you tell other people, "This is what I do." No, I don't work a job. No, I'm not looking for a job. This is what I do. I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I help people do marketing. I help, implement chatbots and stuff like that, Facebook marketing. And this is how she heard of me. She wanted to do Facebook ads. So that's where it's all started. And when, look at where we are now. So that's basically the first thing. Okay. Again, a lot can happen in a week. You can create your own opportunities. And when you do that, you create your own luck. And also, by the way, it's important to have a good network, because obviously without networking and not like I went out and did networking, but without taking your network seriously and without opening your mind and be like, hey, who do I know that owns a business or has some sort of business that needs marketing, or who do I know that knows somebody who does that, right? So again, very thankful that she referred me to her personal trainer. So my client is a personal trainer of her, and this is all through my girlfriend as well. So thankful for that. So again, networking is very important, but you create your own luck. All can happen in a week. So that's the very first thing. Now, the second thing is, now it's kind of funny if I mention this to you guys, but the second thing is recording video, recording content, and creating content in general is a bitch. Okay, so I know it's not like rocket science for people to kind of, when you think about it, it's like, hey, I can totally record like 3 months worth of videos in 2 days. And a lot of people have done it, and I followed a process, but I failed completely. Right? So I definitely was planning on batch recording a lot of my videos, but here I am sitting in front of my GoPro camera on January the 31st, and this video is going to go live on the Sunday right after, on February the 3rd, right? And I didn't plan on this being a video topic, but it just came out of nowhere, and I just decided to sit down and record a video, right? So, the biggest thing is, it's so hard to record, and actually, no, it's not hard to record. It's so hard to create content when, especially because I'm not an expert at it, and I'm literally just a random regular guy, right? Like, I'm really no different than you, as I've stated in my About Me video. But as an ordinary individual who isn't skilled in videography and photography and stuff like that, this stuff is difficult. It takes so much time and effort. Okay, the biggest thing is not recording videos. The biggest thing is, actually, funnily enough, the biggest thing is getting the audio to work properly across all devices and across all the things and camera equipment that I have. So I have a GoPro, I have my phone, which I don't use very often, but I will use more in the future. And then I have my DSLR, and then I bought a couple different mics, and then I had to, calibrate it, and then, there's just so many, optimizing stuff, and ironically, that took out a lot of my time and effort and just caused me a lot of stress. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. But another thing is also editing, because I'm trying to do more sit downs and one take videos and stuff like that. And if I do one takes and I mess up, I can kind of edit a little bit of it out. But one take videos are also more raw, and I think you guys appreciate this kind of format. I definitely do, in terms of a editing and video production standpoint. But if it's like a more serious topic, if I'm sitting in front of the camera, then I need to do certain cuts, right, and certain edits, and then it's just difficult because you just gotta watch the whole thing, gotta delete, and then jump ahead, jump back, and again, it's a hassle. Okay, so I originally started this year and this month fully invested into using my DSLR, but then as weeks went by, I was like, hey, I can definitely use the other cameras I have at my disposal, and then change up the different video formats and content format, because you get better as you go, and your content gets better as you go as well. So again, the second thing is recording content and creating content in general is a bitch, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, which is funny when I say that, because the average person would be like, duh, right? Then the third and final thing is, I tend to plan so many things to do in a day that I just don't tend to keep up with it. So basically what I'm trying to say is I tend to feel like I bite off more than I can chew. Okay, so For example, I would literally plan 4, 5, 6 different things in a day, and they're not like long or big tasks, obviously, right? But I find that when I do that, I only accomplish like maybe half of them, and the other half I leave for the next day, and it's just like it's like a giant backlog of like multiple tasks. So it's just hard to kind of do all the things I need to do in a day because I plan so much. It's like I expect too much for myself, right? And by default, I'm a person who likes to work a little slowly, likes to take my own time, and that's just who I am. I can't speed through things, you know, for better or for worse. And also, I am pretty, I'm a big perfectionist, which I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this are, and can relate to how I do things. And that's not a good combination, right? If you're kind of a slow worker, and if you are a perfectionist, it's kind of, you know, it could be detrimental to like time that you put in something, right? But I guarantee you everything that I do is like really, really good quality, of course. So, but yeah, like I just feel like I'm doing too many things in a day and I just gotta condense it. So one thing that I wanna emphasize is now I want to really focus on having 2 or 3 big things, big tasks for the day, like, you know, maybe 2 to 3 hours each. Obviously, you know, working around 8 to 9 hours per day on average at least. And if I was able to accomplish these things either early, then I can try to fit some other smaller things in, or I can kind of take the day, you know, relax a little bit, read and do some other things I really want and need to do. And that'll probably be more helpful to me in the future than just cramming like a bunch of shit in, right? So again, the third thing is that I noticed that I personally plan too much for myself and expect too much out of myself. I want to dial that back a little bit so that I'm only doing 2 to 3 big tasks for the day so that I don't feel burnt out, and also I don't make it seem like I'm piling on too much stuff for myself as I don't complete them over time. You know what I'm saying? So again, hopefully you have learned a few things from how, you know, what I've done in this past month. Again, I consider myself a relatively new entrepreneur, but that does not mean that I'm not expert, I'm not good at what I do. At the end of the day, this is part of the process, right? And I'm just trying to document and teach you guys and let you guys know what it's like to be an entrepreneur in my shoes right now, in my current state and situation, right? When my company and what I do is relatively brand new, okay? I can drive a lot of traffic, a lot of results, a lot of leads, a lot of value to my clients and my customers in a very short period of time. But personally speaking, from an operational standpoint and as an entrepreneur, things are not as good as I would like to, because I just, it's like I'm being too arrogant in how I do things, and I want to dial it back and be a little more realistic, right? So by that, again, going back to the point where I am biting off more than I can chew, right? But on the flip side, the good thing is a lot can happen in a week as long as you just do the work. You just put your head down, you shut up, you don't talk to anybody who won't benefit you, and you just do the work, right? So that's the biggest thing, okay? So hopefully you guys appreciate this video. I know it's more like a rambly kind of, one take sit down. Hopefully it wasn't too, boring, or hopefully that you've learned a few things and that you found value in this. Really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for watching again. If you can please leave me a like, as well as hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. And follow me on Instagram if that's your thing. Until next time, talk to you soon. Peace.